If it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policy, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah, Hitler, White House. We keeping him out.
I personally have nothing against MSNBC. Listen, they are who they are, and they say who they are. They're advocacy media for the political left, in this case, the Democratic Party in America. That's fine. I'm the opposite. But I tell you who I am, and my colleagues tell you who we are. That's fine. It's the other media that I don't like, where they pretend like they don't have a dog in the fight. They pretend like they're unbiased. That said, the gems that we're getting right now from MSNBC as they try to figure out how to navigate their way through the destruction, disintegration, self-immolation of the Biden presidency, well, it's incredibly entertaining. And no one is more entertaining over there than Joy Reid. Not just what she says on the air, but these social media posts that she's been putting out. Take a look at the latest one. There's something not very well about Joy Reid.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play in traffic all you want in front of these Republicans, acting a fool in front of these people instead of privately declaring your stuff. But don't text me no more, because I'm not taking no more of these texts. Just let me know when you guys are finished figuring it out, Democrats, because I know y'all the freak out people. Go ahead and freak out. Have your conversation, and then let me know who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. That's it. I'm done. Oh, and by the way, if it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policy, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah, Hitler, White House. We keeping him out.
Okay, Julie. I mean, there's a lot to go with there. Hitler in the White House. I don't care if Biden's in a coma. I'm still going to vote for him. What to make of this?
Yeah, first of all, that was like a jump scare. Literally, I got spooked when we went to that clip because she is so crazy looking. She does not look well. I do have to say, can I just take a moment and be a girl and be kind of a mean girl here? I love that after that viral video of that guy calling her Trump for having blonde hair. She had, because she switched her hair to blonde hair and it looked like President Trump. I love that she shaved her head because it clearly bugged her because she was kind of sporting a Trump look. Joy Reid is so crazy, but it's actually good that Joy Reid's out there because we need to be reminded of how radical the left has become. She actually does represent a segment of the Democrat Party and of the extreme left. They exist, they think this way, or rather they don't think this way. They will do whatever they can. They're obsessed with Trump. I always feel like that she's also a good reminder of the never Trump crowd, because there are people who consider themselves Republicans or consider themselves conservatives or neocons, whatever you want to say, that have these same feelings. Whatever it takes, we will take the man in the vegetative state. We will take Kamala Harris, who doesn't have two brain cells to rub together. So she again serves as a good reminder of what we're up against.
But Akash, to be fair, if the roles were reversed here and the Democrats nominated a candidate that I found so dangerous and so odious and so antithetical to what America stands for, which is what they think of Donald Trump, I'd be okay voting for somebody in a coma too. I mean, this is sort of where we are politically in America.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously very, very hyperbolic and is just kind of a crazy person the way she goes about things and how she says things. But a lot of the country, frankly, falls into camps exactly like you're describing, right? Which is that they're just like reflexive partisans, not necessarily because they love their party, but because they despise and fear the other party. That is what it is. It's highly unfortunate. There's far, far too much power and authority and, frankly, fear vested in the executive branch. It's a much larger conversation about our constitutional form of government. And it's ironic that every time the Supreme Court steps in to reduce the power of the executive, like they did striking down Chevron deference, for example, last week, you hear people criticize the Supreme Court for that. That decision made Donald Trump and his administration less powerful, so they should be applauding it. But the fact of the matter is, ultimately, this election will be decided by a very small number of swing voters, independents, moderates. And again, to the extent this election is about Joe Biden's track record, his policy record, and prices being 20% higher than they were when President Biden took office, people are not going to care about things that President Trump said or tweeted 5 years ago, when that's kind of what they're dealing with today.
Akash, I'm so glad you brought Chevron up because I missed having a conversation with you last week about it when the decision came down. And it's rare that I get somebody as smart as you from AFP to talk about it. That is sort of the biggest story, actually, of the entire Supreme Court session, even setting aside the immunity charge. Uh, what it means is, you're right, it weakens the power of the presidency and the executive branch and the administrative state. But the legislative branch has to step into that void. Do you think Congress is able and equipped to actually do the job they were designed to do? Because they've been very happy to stay hands off and let the administrative state take over.
They may not, and that's because the muscle memory has disappeared, right? And that's why it's so important for conservative organizations and think tanks and grassroots like AFP and reporters like Gabe and the work that Julie does at IWF. It's so important for the movement to step up and inform members of Congress, inform voters, inform their staff, because their responsibility now falls into their shoulders. And I think it's an enormous step in the right direction, that the people who should be making laws are lawmakers, not faceless, unaccountable bureaucrats or the executive branch. That's not how our Constitution was decided. And hopefully it makes people like Joy Reid less terrified of the prospect of somebody that she doesn't like becoming president at the end of the day.
I don't know. It sounds pretty anti-expertise to me, Akash. Gabe, I'd like to ask you, not as a journalist, but as a member of your generation, do you and your colleagues or your cohorts of your generation sort of look at a presidential election from the perspective of, I don't care who the nominee is, I'm voting for this party with these policies, like we just saw from Joy Reid? Or is it really quite a bit about the person, him or herself?
So my thought about Joy Reid's comments is actually that they're reflective of just elite DC conservative or liberal on the other side. So Joy Reid is, I think, just speaking exactly about what Democrats in Washington believe, which is that democracy is, democracy is on the line, and if Donald Trump gets in, democracy ends and the republic ends. I don't think most Americans subscribe to that pretty ridiculous ideology. And I think, maybe in the same sense, I don't think to the same degree, but I think that Republicans in DC perhaps view it as, and maybe rightly so, but that another Biden administration would be, go a step further than being a political issue and be a really significant constitutional issue. Obviously, we still have our branches of government. Biden's issued with, all of his executive orders. Maybe that's starting to deteriorate. I mean, the DEI across every single federal agency is quite a step beyond that. But yeah, I think I don't know if it's a generational thing so much as an elite versus normal people thing. And if you look at the polls, that's reflective of it. Since the debate and Biden's abysmal performance, Trump has surged maybe 4 points or 5 points. In Washington, D.C., if they did that same poll, I don't know. I think that Democrats maybe would say they're raising concerns about Biden, but I think that when push comes to shove, they're not going to vote for the guy they view as like the QAnon J6 insurrectionist.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think they go to RFK. I think you're right about that. And that's a really good observation. Because I think it's that debate lost in the shuffle is not just that Joe Biden had just a Titanic meets the Hindenburg kind of night, but also Donald Trump had a very good night. He was actually very strong. He was very articulate. He was very disciplined, and he actually advanced ideas. I'll answer my own question this way, though, if I could, at the end of our segment, which is this. Ever since 2008, I think that you do see, yes, about 40% on either side of the political equation consistently voting for their party and their party's policies, regardless of the nominee. It's that 20%, the 20% that voted for Barack Obama and then voted for Donald Trump. That's the 20% that wins and loses an election. And each time, whether it was Obama or Trump, they were voting for a change agent. They were voting for somebody who was going to go in and shake things up. At least that's what they told us. And that's probably what this election is going to be about, too. But you know what? I'd love for you to answer our question. Go ahead and do so in the comments section. Do you vote for the party? Do you vote for the policy? Or do you vote for the person and his personality? Let us know. Love to see it.